Good morning, millionaires. Good morning, millionaires. What a year it's been, baby. I hope you feel proud of yourself. Hope you've accomplished a little something. This year has been full of surprises, but you could say that about every year. This morning I was reading an article that was talking about how there has been a major increase in the wealth of the average household, which is why the labor shortage is so real right now. I was like, massive wealth where? As I look around, as I do my informal surveys, as I ask people about it, I know they got a bunch of free money, but that ain't the same as wealth. Millionaires, in the face of crisis, in the face of situations like this, what happens is leaders start to emerge. What happens is you start to learn a little bit about yourself. Emergencies start to shake up your priorities. Emergencies force us to reconsider what's important. Now you're taking a step back. Now you're evaluating what really matters to you as a leader. Now you have a chance to recalibrate. Now you have a chance to check your assumptions and act with purpose. Am I making sense to somebody out there? What am I saying to you? I'm saying that once you start to change your priorities a little something, you give yourself the best chance to succeed. I'm real happy to see y'all here on time. But check this out, man. The best thing about resetting your priorities, millionaires, is that you ain't got to wait for your hand to be forced. You hear what I'm saying? If you want to develop the leader that you got inside you, don't wait until you have to change. Don't wait until you have to change. Somebody give me that in the comments. I'm not going to wait until I have to change. What I got for you this morning is 5 principles I want you to carry into this new year. I want you to take it dead serious. And, I want you to hold these as 5 principles that will allow you to change your priorities. You ready? Here's the first one, y'all. Working smarter always has a higher return than working harder. Working smarter always has a higher return than working harder. To me, the very definition of working smart is that you're working on something that when you're done working on it, it starts working for you. That's the definition of working smarter, if you ask me. Working smarter has a higher return than working harder. There's this famous novelist named Franz Kafka. And he was like, appreciate the share, Sade. Thank you, love. Productivity is being able to do things that you were never able to do before. Now, how do you make that happen? What did Mr. Kafka mean by that? Productivity is being able to do things you were never able to do before. Because doing some exact things with greater intensity rarely works. That ain't the play. So let me tell you how you do it. If you're really going to get better results, you're going to have to rethink how you do something. What we're saying is you have to work smarter. Does that make sense? Now you got to find better ways to work, right? Now you got to make the most of the moments that you have, right? Disciplined use of the time that everybody else wastes is the number one way to get an edge. Disciplined use of the time everybody else wastes is the number one way to get an edge. Millionaires, give me that in the comments. Disciplined use of the time that everybody else wastes is the number one way to give yourself an edge. What leader doesn't want an edge? Here's number 2 I want you to think about. You can't have it all. That's number 2. You can't have it all. There's this old story about a light keeper, right? And, a lot of people, I'll tell you that story, but the bottom line about this is that you walk your child into the store, one of the first things that you probably let them know is that they can't have it all, right? But your children have a hard time narrowing their list, right? Think about that. But we ain't children. Millionaires, I believe that 95% of achieving anything is knowing what you want. That's especially important if you're going to be a leader, if you're going to be in charge of other people. If you want to be successful as a person, if you want to be successful as a leader, then you got to make choices. I believe you choose or you lose. Somebody give me that in your notes. You choose or you lose. You got to narrow your list. Here's number three. Here's number three. Good is always the enemy of great. Good is always the enemy of the best. Good is always the enemy of the best. Appreciate that, Sade. Good is always the enemy of the best. See, most people can choose between good and bad. Most people can choose between right or wrong. But the real challenge for most people, especially entrepreneurs, especially servant leaders, especially people who have been gifted with the gift of influence over other people, the real challenge for most people arises when they're faced with two good choices. How do you know which one you're supposed to pick? You know, now I'll tell you the story that I was going to tell you earlier. Y'all know the story of the lighthouse keeper? Y'all know this one? He was given like a big thing of oil because he was running the lighthouse on this especially rocky shore, this rocky coastline, right? This is way back before the days of electricity. And once a month, he got this supply of oil to keep the lighthouse running. But because he wasn't that far from the town, a lot of times he'd have visitors. So one time the old lady comes by and she begs for some oil to keep her family warm. So he has pity on her and gives it to her. What happens next? A father comes and asks for him oil so he could come and light his lamp and search for his missing son. So what does he do? He gives him some oil. Next, this industrialist in town needs some oil to keep his machinery running. Well, he can't let the machinery go bad. So what does he do? He gives them some oil, right? Every request, people keep on asking. Every request was good. So every request got fulfilled. He gives them all oil. Toward the end of the month, his supply was low. A ship crashes on the rocks and kills a bunch of people. The lighthouse keeper had been given that oil for one purpose and one purpose only, and it escaped him. Why do I tell you this story? Because millionaires, as you become successful, as you become busier, you're going to have to learn to navigate the choice between two good and worthy things. How do you choose? Remember that good sometimes has to be sacrificed for best. Does that make sense to you? Here's number 4 I got for you. Proactive beats reactive. Proactive beats reactive. Hey, man, you better let him know, D1. My man D. George is in the house. Check this out. Check this out. Proactive beats reactive. Proactive beats reactive. Everybody on this planet is sometimes an initiator and sometimes a reactor. Everybody on this planet is sometimes the reactor and sometimes the initiator, especially when it comes to planning. You know, this is a good time for me to mention that this is a good day for you to purchase your 90-day massive action planner if you want to have it ready for the new year, right? Check this out. In my opinion, you can choose or you can lose. You can choose or you can lose. Proactive means choosing. Reactive means losing. In a very many of the cases you'll bump into. The question to ask yourself isn't, will I have things to do? Instead, what you probably want to be asking yourself is, will I do the things that make a difference? I'm trying to tell you, man, productivity is way different from activity. And if you're going to be effective going into this new year, you need to be proactive. Here's the last one I got for you, y'all. And then we're going to get to our affirmations. Here's the last one I got for you, y'all. And then it's affirmation time. Millionaires, so far we talked about how you got to get into a place where you want to work smarter instead of harder. Well, really, you want to work smarter and harder, right? Number 2, we talked about how you can't have it all. Number 3, we were breaking down how good is always the enemy of great. Number 4, we were talking about how proactive always beats reactive. Well, check this out. Number 5 is the important has to be prioritized over the urgent. Somebody give me that one. The important has to take precedence over the urgent. Does that make sense to you? I'm just talking to the leaders. Check this out. The more responsibility that you carry as a leader, the more you have on your plate. The ability for you to juggle high priority projects is something you're going to have to learn to do if you're going to continue climbing this mountain, right? As this list of to-dos starts to grow, you can agonize or you can organize. You hear me? You can agonize or you can organize. I don't know about you, but I would rather organize. You know what I'm saying? So here's a simple way for you to classify your activities. Write this in your notes. Write this in your power book. You know, the 90-day planner is amazing. But when you do this, you know, we had this affirmations coloring book and all of that, perfect Kwanzaa gift and all of that, right? Perfect stocking stuffer. But you always have note pages to write stuff down, like what I've been giving you this morning and what I'm about to give you. What I've been giving you this morning plus what I'm about to give you. What I've been giving you this morning plus what I'm about to give you. Check this out. This is a simple but very effective way for you to classify things and quickly prioritize them. You ready? It goes like this. Because effective leaders are always going to weigh both importance and urgency for everything they have to do, and then you act accordingly. So, first, there's the things that are high importance and high urgency. That's what you want to do first. High importance and high urgency. Next after that is high importance, low urgency, right? That's where you want to set deadlines for completion. And you want to fit this stuff into your daily routine. That's category number 2. High importance, low urgency. Here's the third category. Low importance, high urgency. Low importance, high urgency. Find quick but efficient ways to get this stuff done with minimal personal involvement. If it's possible, you want to delegate category number 3 because it's low importance, but it's high urgency. And then the fourth one, y'all, is low importance and low urgency. Low importance and low urgency. Think about that. If this stuff can be eliminated, then get rid of it. If it can be delegated, then find somebody to do it, right? If you got to do it yourself because you have not built an organization, you have not built a circle that you can trust, then schedule this small block of time in your day or in your week where you can chip away at this crap, but never schedule it during your prime time. Millionaires, I hope you got something from this morning because it doesn't take a lot of time. It doesn't take a lot of effort to review your priorities and evaluate the importance of it, but most people never do it. I just gave you a really powerful competitive edge this morning. I hope you treasure it. I hope you utilize it because the key to anything is going to be how you focus on it. It's your ability to focus that's going to give you the best chances of success. Does that make sense to somebody out there? Hope this was helpful. It's affirmation time. It's affirmation time, right? It's affirmation time. Call in right now. Call in right now. It's affirmation time. Let's get it. Let's get it. Call in right now. Call in right now. Call in right now. Call in right now. It's affirmation time. Let's get it. Repeat after me, millionaires, and say it like you mean it. I am so